All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Xbox Talks. This is number 52. Thank you guys for all joining us here. This is a podcast for you guys as much as it is for us. We want to get to know you guys. So come up if you guys don't know. We have a hand raise button down at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and hit that. Let us know that you want to get involved in the conversation, and we'll try to bring you guys up in order. Just a couple of housekeeping rules. When you aren't speaking, go ahead and just mute yourself. As well, and don't be offended if we can't bring you up. We do not usually pick low karma users just because we've had issues with it in the past. But with that said, let's get the show started. How about we introduce the other co-hosts here? We have Anthony Mokoworm.
Hey, how you doing?
He's our UK correspondent about all things Xbox across the pond. How you been, bud?
I'm good, thank you. I've been good.
Awesome. And we also have Jay Foreman.
Hey, Anthony sounds a little worn down there. I was kind of razzing him a little bit earlier. He was lucky enough to go see some soccer earlier or football, depending on where you are, and he's got a little less pep in his step than normal. He's always a trooper though, and shows up for us and gives us that UK perspective that he's famous for. So, how's everyone doing?
Good. He was off being a hooligan. Is that what they're called?
Or a super dad, depending on how you look at it. So it was good to see.
It was interesting taking a 5-year-old to a football match like that. It was good though.
Yeah.
We've not got Mikey with us, which is a shame today.
Yeah, we are missing Mikey. He is feeling under the weather.
Oh.
Which, it's that time of year. Stuff's going around everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. It seems to happen no matter, at least on this side of the planet anyway, on this hemisphere. So I think we should probably get right into it, before we...
Oh, yeah. I am ready.
So first, let's do the intro.
Go ahead.
Kevin. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, which topic did you guys want to start off on? We got it wasn't a pretty big news week for Xbox this week, but we did get some good juicy stuff that came out. I guess we could talk about media overreacting. That's the first topic on the title. So how about we dive into that?
Yeah, so that's going to be big and steamy and a little juicy because a lot of people have really strong opinions about this, and we've discussed it before. And some stuff I kind of want to get into about that. But first, I kind of wanted to ask you what you've been playing, Kevin.
Oh,
how's your week?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
No, I understand because I want to dive in too. But I heard you were first of all, and that's like my least favorite housework. Just kind of. It seems like it's always going to be awesome, and once you do like one wall, then you're just like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore, man. So I hope that's going well for you. Also,
yeah,
a funny point.
Yeah, so we had insulation put in our walls around the house on the front part because they weren't done when we bought the house. But regarding that, they have to drill big giant holes and then repatch it. So yeah, I just went outside and repainted the whole front and sides of the house, and then pretty much that was it. Just been playing Hogwarts Legacy. That's pretty much all I've been doing.
Nice.
Just playing that.
Yeah, a lot of people really fell into that. I was going to ask if you still had time for gaming with all that other stuff going on, so I'm glad that you were able to squeeze some in. So,
yeah.
Have you had time for gaming?
I've done the same. Hogwarts Legacy, I know there's been some backlash against it, but as a game, it's got me hooked. I love it. It's really cool.
There you are. Yeah, it's obviously very controversial. Some sites are not allowing discussion of it. Some charity events we just saw somebody linked that they're not allowing it to be played for streams right now while they kind of review the situation. It's really unfortunate. I think no matter which side of the debate you fall on, I think we can all agree that there's a debate in the first place. It's unfortunate that we have to take a look at these issues, but it's a good time to kind of discuss them in the right setting. Something that we've tried to steer away from in this community and the Series X community anyways, if you participate with us there, is political conversation, because we believe there's a lot of other places where you can have those conversations if you want. And, sometimes I'm not saying that we're trying to discredit or avoid anything or anything like that, because I certainly have strong feelings about the issue as most of us do. But we do believe that there should be places where you can get away from that stuff. The world is a drag. I don't know how else to put it.
I mean,
Go ahead.
when the game, in the preview week, we allowed a thread to run for pretty much a whole day.
Oh, we
so
did.
People could discuss this side of the game, and then after that we've shifted obviously to just discussing the game now, which I understand it's divisive, but as a video game, I've had a ton of fun with it. I think it's great, and then I've also been playing loads of Lego games again. I can't get away from Lego. I'm now addicted to Lego games once more, like I was when I was younger.
I think that's awesome. I love that. I really do. They're so much fun. They're just kind of silly fun,
They're so well. The puzzles are so well made. You're like watching a chat, because I've been helping my little boy go through it, and just playing through it with him. They're so well crafted. They're so well done, and the puzzles are they're not too difficult, but they're not simple. It really challenges him to get them done, but he does them.
It's a great way to learn gamer skills for younger or newer gamers, and not just younger gamers, first-time gamers. So we always get the questions in the communities. I want to get my significant other into gaming, or my family member, and they're not really new. They're new to games. So, what games should I buy?
We've got about 7 on the go at the moment. 7 different Lego games, which is great.
You should.
But going from early ones as well. So early, we're playing Lego Batman from the 360 right through to the new Star Wars. And you can see the way that it's still got the same core elements, but it's developed so well, from how it was to what it is now. It's brilliant. It's really good.
And not only are the mechanics kind of easy to get down with, if you will, the settings are really iconic. Usually, we have Marvel, we have Lord of the Rings, we have Indiana Jones, Batman. Everybody's familiar with all the Lego licensed games that they've created, and somewhere in there, even Hogwarts, Harry Potter, somewhere in there, you're going to find something that is going to appeal to somebody on just the basic level of, I get to hear that music again, I get to see those characters that I love, and it's such a cool thing.
Agreed.
So that's
all right.
fun.
And what have you been playing, Jay?
Yeah, I'll just go real quick in my rotation of games. It seems like I play like 40% of all of them. But anyways, this week it's Stardew Valley. Fell back into that. Darkest Dungeon is still continuing that. Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I put a huge chunk through. Finally going to make it all the way through that. Really enjoyed it. And is there anything else in that mix? Overwatch. I'm still playing Overwatch quite a bit. Kind of slacking the season on the Battle Pass. I need to get back on top of that as well.
What took you back to Stardew Valley? Did you finish that? Have you completed that before? Have you finished it again?
I don't know if I can say finished. I played it extensively. I made it to the desert, into like the advanced gameplay. I thought that I had played it pretty thoroughly. I saw my daughter playing it, and I was like, I had just had a real night of sweaty Overwatch, if you will, and I was just like, that's the cure. So I looked over there and I was like, I need some Stardew Valley right now, just for my soul, the chicken noodle soup of gaming, if you will. So that got me back into it. I looked at my old saves. The furthest I made it was maybe like year 2. So I think maybe it's a 4-year cycle to get through the entire game. So as far as I thought I made it, basically I didn't. If you really want to get deep into that game, is like you can work on the relationships and try to get the different achievements. I did look at the achievement list, and a couple of them are for these little standalone arcade games that they have in a tavern in town. These are almost like, they're really old school, like really basic kind of Smash TV clone type of thing. And one of them is to like defeat the game without dying. And I'm just like, this is a game that would drive Mikey crazy, who's not with us tonight, but because that achievement would be so gosh darn hard that, it would ruin him. And because he'd have like 980 out of 1,000. And then this one impossible achievement where like 0.03% of people got it defeated, but maybe Mikey could actually make it through that. He's pretty incredible. So
it's like
ask him about that.
It's like in Goat Simulator, there's an achievement for just that, for doing the Flappy Bird, and all you have to do is get through. All you have to do is get through 10 pipes, and it took me probably hours and hours just to do these 10 pipes. It was driving me insane. I was like hallucinating. Like, it was just the craziest thing.
Can you remember a golden era when Flappy Bird was delisted from the Apple Store and people were selling the phones with Flappy Bird on eBay for like 3 times the price of a normal iPhone? Yeah. It was like PT on the PlayStation as well.
But that's such a ridiculous achievement in Goat. Well, they're all ridiculous in Goat Simulator, but that had
Flappy Bird makes me want to pull my hair out. I understand the appeal to games like that, very simple and it's kind of skill based, but also just no. So that's a good around the horn though. So now we can get back to where Kevin was taking us. I liked it. Let's get back to that juicy story.
Say, yeah. Enough about us. They came here to hear about Xbox news and the juiciness, spicy stories about that. If you guys aren't comfortable with coming up on stage, go ahead. We do read the comments down below. You guys are free. I'll usually throughout the show, I'll come down, or the other hosts will look down at the comments and we'll see what you guys are posting and mention it on the show. So please don't feel like you guys have to come up, but if you guys do want to participate and give your opinions, we do read the chat. So yeah, let's start it off here. Media overreacts about Redfall physical disc. So I'm not sure how in depth you guys are on this story. If you guys just want me to, I can just kick it off.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So basically what happened is Bethesda kind of had a poorly worded support page that they published concerning Redfall. And it mentioned basically or alluded to that the physical copies weren't going to have discs. It was going to be codes because they're a Play Anywhere title, and that they would be for Steam or for Xbox, things like that. It never actually said no physical discs, but the media ran with the story. And of course, if, to quote Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. And nobody wanted to be the last to report on it. And it basically blew up to where the narrative changed to Redfall will ship without physical discs. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that's not true. Tom Warren was the only journalist to reach out to Bethesda for comment. He waited. He didn't want to post an article from The Verge saying what exactly happened. So basically the media just overreacted and started talking about Redfall won't have physical discs. And that's where the story kind of blew up at. Did any of you guys read it or catch it as it was going live when all these websites just started posting nonsense?
Well, I mean, I watch the subreddit most weekday mornings. It's no secret that I'm a at work Redditor. So it's usually when I'm very active. And so I see this news gets posted and I have to look at it, and we have to ask questions when we look at the things. How credible is this, and what are the sources? And I saw the story and just kind of let it go and didn't think very much of it. And then I started to see protests in the comments. And a lot of times, what will happen with stories like this is it's the users that will bring things to our attention. Maybe discretions or if the things that are stated as fact that maybe aren't so. And I started to notice some users saying, "Hey, this doesn't really necessarily say what you're saying for sure," but we know that we have a lot of gaming media that stroll through the subreddits, and it's not just us. Reddit's a very popular site for people to come and source their news from. And basically what happened is I did a little checklist here, and I saw all the people that ran with the story, and kind of based on this Reddit submission, because I really do believe that's where kind of this started. Maybe somebody picked it up from Twitter, who's to say where things really get their seed. But anyways, it really seemed to catch fire here. And the Gamer, Game Rant, the Escapist, VGC, MP First, Xbox Era, who I'm a fan of. They later corrected the story, but the headline remained the same. And you're going to see what I'm getting to here. Gaming Bolt, Gamer Ranks, and more. All these websites ran with the story that Redfall is going to be digital only, and it's always online. It's really starting to sound alarmist for people that are concerned about physical media, game ownership, and there's a lot of them out there for very valid reasons. But this really started to catch fire, and people really started to get concerned about Redfall. What's happening here? Should we be? If I don't have a great internet connection, is this going to be a game for me? I can't download things, that kind of thing. It's not even going to be on a disc. And it basically got printed in the truth before even any clarification could get made. I just listed all those websites. That's just a sample. And that's not including YouTubers, especially your real clickbaity types. They go crazy with this stuff. And they're just like, oh boy, look at Xbox is faltering again, because you know how it is. And there's subscribe now, smash it, whatever. But it's just kind of crazy how people go with this. So now we have a real problem. Now the correction comes out, a clarification comes out, and how do you change this narrative? How do you catch people that are already running with it? That that this is the information they have, and they don't understand that it's been changed. So one of the things that we do on the subreddits is when we see a post that gets corrected is we flare it in bright red with the correction, because that's better than just taking it down, in our opinion. If you just take it down, then everybody's going to have the misinformation, and that's it. Maybe somebody will post a correction and it's not going to get the same visibility. That's kind of a problem. So if there's a post atop the subreddit, we want that up there with that bold disclaimer that this is wrong because of this. So it's a little harder to do that on websites. An expression is the internet is written in ink. Once something gets out there, it's kind of hard to take back. So what do you guys think journalists can do, and gaming media to kind of check themselves? Because it's a click chasing business, right? Everybody wants to get out there with the first news, but it's a problem when it's not factually correct, right? And it can be damaging to brands. It can have real significant impact on game sales and financial stuff, and almost like I think there might even be legal concerns here. So how do you guys feel about this subject?
Well, I mean, the thing with it, you can't really blame the journalists. I mean, in this case, yes, they are a little bit at fault because none of them decided to reach out to Bethesda. They kind of just ran the narrative and they assumed a lot of what was going on. But at the same time, it's also Bethesda's fault because they did have a pretty shoddy support page that kind of mentioned everything, and they weren't very clear. But luckily, thanks to Tom Warren, they came back out, they revamped that support page, and it pretty much states that this was just for the bite back version. Where we're going to be digital codes because you could buy that separately as an add-on. But yeah, I don't know. With media and journalism, it's kind of hard because once you post something, that's it. It's either going to catch on like wildfire, or depending on who it is, you'll get called out for it. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's a mixed bag. There's really not much you can really do about it other than taking your time and making sure, hey, the article I'm about to post is indeed factual. But nobody wants to wait.
Isn't that I can't get my words out. Isn't that the job of a journalist? Isn't that the basic fundamental job of a journalist, is to fact check a story before it goes out?
Yes. Yes,
I've got Mark Twain. It's a great quote from Mark Twain, isn't there? A lie can travel around the world and back before the truth gets its boots laced up or something. Which is what Jay was alluding to in that other.
Yeah, I didn't.
It can do real damage. It can do real damage, and all credit to Tom Warren. I think, like he's really sort of excelled there against all the other sources. Yeah, I think no one is at fault here except journalists. I don't know, that's a generalization, but I mean,
can we say that gaming media are not all journalists? They're not. Very few of them, bloggers, I think, are actual journalists.
Yeah.
We have entire websites based on just rehashing Twitter comments. We do that here on Reddit, right? But we all do it as a community. It's fun for us. We're not doing it for money. Nobody's paying us. I guess Reddit's getting some money in the end, but that's what we do. But they're not. I guess the point I'm getting to is they're not calling up the people. They're not making a call and saying, "Hey, can you verify this? Can you?" Nope, they just print it. Like I saw Tommy so-and-so say this on Twitter, and they're running with it. And I think that's ridiculous without doing further investigation, especially in a situation like this. And this isn't the only situation this week where we've had kind of like rampant headlines and stuff, right? So it's just, I think it's a problem. So let me, while we're on this conversation, let me kind of turn it back to you. Let me turn it to you, Anthony.
Well, I was just,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, you go.
Well, I don't want to take you off you have a.
Well, I was going to say, because you just said it followed that it's not just the only thing, and it exactly runs into the Starfield image, right? The Starfield image was released, which turned out to be fake, and yet it's exactly the same story where everybody ran with this leaked Starfield image, and it was clearly I think it was clearly going to turn out to be, and it turned out it was an AI generated image.
Yeah, and to give a little credit here, I think less media ran with the Starfield image. That was more of a community and individual kind of propagated thing where people were reposting it on Twitter and Reddit. And I didn't see as many stories about that one. It wasn't like like VGC, a very big website, high traffic, posting it and being like, "Look at the new Starfield," and it was kind of a. The image was Anybody that knows about AI created imagery was pretty quick to spot it out. So, but yeah, again, you make a great point. So I see that we have a guest.
Yeah, Dat Fan Man. Welcome to the stage. If you you can just hit the mic button down at the bottom left of your screen. If you're on mobile or on desktop, it should be the same. There you go.
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, welcome.
Hello?
Hey there,
man.
welcome to the show.
Oh wow, Jesus! I didn't think I would get in. What is it? My phone had disconnected for like I want to say at least like 2 minutes. So I was like, Jesus Christ! I didn't know if I connected or not. Anyway, sorry.
No,
guys.
you made it. Don't worry, it's always
Yeah.
an adventure. So we're happy to have you.
Yeah, you guys were just talking about what was it? Starfall.
Starfield?
Yeah, Starfield.
Or Redfall. We're talking about
Yeah.
both
Oh, I
technically.
love it.
Oh, both?
This is a
Okay,
hybrid
because
game.
I heard Redfall, then I heard Starfield. I thought it was like, oh crap, no, did I wait
No,
too
no.
long? But
Yeah,
no,
we're
so,
talking about both.
the Redfall thing is pretty interesting. One, it's interesting that there's no punishment or not enough people are talking about the fact that so many journalists and professional journalists jumped on this story all at once, and then it turns out that it's false. It's completely false. And that's something that's been going on for the longest in the gaming industry, in games journalism. I won't go into any details because then other conversations start happening that don't really pertain to this. But it's just really interesting. But then also, I come to wonder: is this an Xbox marketing issue too? Because Microsoft has a bad habit, from what I've seen, anyways. And this is somebody who's coming back from the 360, who played 360, was a diehard 360 fan, had a PS3, but stuck to 360. Once the next generation came over, was PlayStation, and didn't really touch an Xbox One until the One X came out when my roommate got it. And then when the Series X came out, that's when I went back to Xbox. And the question that it's been in my mind, or has been on my mind for a while, is it a marketing issue? Because keep in mind, we don't know anything that's going on about Xbox unless it has to do, in anyways, from what I see, unless it has to do with either Gamepass, the Activision acquisition that may or may not happen, and that's about it. And then the situation that's going on with Halo Infinite. Those are the only three things that I keep hearing.
My response to that would be, how could Microsoft possibly have known that somebody was going to assume that a game would ship without a physical disc and field against that before this story got out and was making the rounds? It's like, it's such a crazy thing that was picked up on from a nondescript place.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, how can you field against that before it happens? You wouldn't. It's just who would just assume that you're not going to get a disc in your game, and put that out?
Yeah, and it's kind of a weird spot, isn't it? And it was corrected pretty quickly. I think the issue we're looking at here is just, what is the responsibility of people who run with the false stories like this, or the wrong details, and getting a correction message out there, and how effective is it really? And do they really just shouldn't we be kind of solving this problem, nip it in the bud, as they say, and stopping this spread of misinformation in the first place. But kind of going back to your point, and I think you're kind of trying to maybe stretch to another topic there a little bit. It is related. It is Xbox marketing, and you're right in a way. Redfall hasn't really been pumped in front of our face. Now we've seen it coming, and now that it's close, especially, we're getting a lot more details about what it is. But up until maybe a month ago, I didn't understand the game very well. I was like, is it Borderlands? What is this? Is it a hero shooter? And I'm still kind of trying to put it all together.
I thought it was a spiritual successor to State of Decay.
Sure.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh wait, so State of Decay 3, is it coming out? It's turning into this. But then when I'm reading about it and I find out it's a separate team, it's Arcane Studios, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, okay, so what's happening?
Yeah, so I mean, we all have theories about Xbox marketing and what they're trying to do and all that. And one of mine is, and it really seemed to start kind of last year, is that they're really going a lot more a lot quieter on the hype leading up to games and stuff, and they're just kind of dropping them. We saw Hi-Fi Rush kind of infamously at this point kind of shadow drop, and I'm not expecting them to shadow drop every game, but I'm expecting them to dial down the hype. And that's kind of hard as a gamer because we're built on hype. We love hype, and when we're looking for a new game, we the 3-4 year hype cycles have almost become industry standard. But the problem is we get tired of the news and we get tired of the Omer promises, and then games need to be delayed. And, so maybe it's best just to kind of hush up about things and let your work speak instead of your marketing. And I know it's a careful balance, but I think you have some fair points there that, we don't have a lot of details about this stuff and about a lot of the things coming down the pipes for Xbox. We don't know when Starfield's coming out yet still. And we don't know a lot about Starfield in general. There's not, if you wanted to go out and do a deep dive on the game, if I wanted to look into Diablo 4 right now, I could tell you characters, classes, builds, all that kind of stuff. But if you go to Starfield, we know it looks a little bit like Fallout, and there's companions. You fly around a little bit, like it's a lot more vague. So I think it's kind of purposeful. I think when Xbox has had kind of a down couple years, it might seem off-putting, but I think it's going to land. I think they're working their way back around to a good direction. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so so with this though, I do blame Bethesda a little bit. So with the support page, they were not clear about what exactly was coming out. So I fault journalists for running with the story? Yes, for pushing a narrative rather than focusing more on, well, let's wait to at least, hey, we're reaching out to Bethesda, but this is what the support page says. So for those that want to see, it was pretty much they updated their support page. It says, what codes do the physical versions of Redfall come with? And this is what was the troubling part, is because the answer was the code contained in the physical PC copies of Redfall are Steam codes. The physical Xbox copies of Redfall are Xbox Play Anywhere codes, which can be played on both the Series X and the Xbox app PC.
So it's a Fallout 76 situation, basically.
Yeah, so basically they posted this, but then they redid their support page and they're like, no, this is just for the PC version. The Xbox will come with actual standard codes. It was just the Bite Back edition, I guess, is the one that's going to have the codes for the extra content and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what people were worried about, is the Xbox one wasn't going to have a disc. And that's how it kind of blew up. And I do blame Bethesda for having a bad support page, how the question was written and how it was answered. But I do blame the journalists, though, for pushing a narrative without getting all the facts first.
Well, it goes back to journalists or just reprinting stuff. And again, it takes not very long to reach out to Bethesda, especially if you have any kind of credential, to be like, hey, can we get a clarification on this? But the other choice is smash your face into the keyboard and type it all down and print it out and send it, and get the clicks. And unfortunately, that's what the business is about with media. So while we're still on this topic, and maybe you can weigh in too while you're up here, Fan Man, is who do you guys trust? Who do you trust for your Xbox news? What sources do you look for? Who are your Twitter follows? What
Tom
websites
Warren,
do you trust?
Tom Warren, Verge, Jez, Corden. Are two that I check daily.
Jez is very lightning radish, especially people that might be in the Council Warrior pool on the PlayStation side. They really love to come after Jez because he says a lot of outlandish stuff. The other day he was like, I don't know. You can follow him on Twitter to see some of his stuff. And if you're not familiar with him, you might not realize it's tongue in cheek. Like I think he said if Microsoft divest Blizzard and they just keep Call of Duty in this deal, that he's going to cry and he's going to buy a Steam Deck and he's going to buy an Apple computer and an iPhone and nothing Microsoft ever again, and people like Twitter being Twitter, people were just like, oh, you were he's like, I'm joking. I can't believe I have to say this, but it is what it is, So I do agree that if you understand that he's a good source for Windows News, he has a lot of inside sources. So anybody else?
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Anthony.
Ryan McCaffrey. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no,
go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, what is it? I'd say the main person I use for Xbox News is, the Godfather, Ryan McCaffrey from IGN.
The Godfather.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dude, he came from Xbox Magazine, and then he's been with it since almost the launch of the original Xbox. And it's like, I trust this guy's voice. If you were to tell me, he's one of those guys where it's like, if you were to tell me another Xbox is coming out within a month, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I trust your sources more than I trust most people. It's like he's been in the industry for that long, and it's just his opinion really matters. Another one is probably Mr. Manny Plays. He's not necessarily he's a journalist, but he's more of a YouTube journalist. And he does a lot of retro reviews, but he also has a lot of good sources inside the industry. I don't know if you guys are, well, I mean, we all know Star Wars, what's the name of that one Star Wars game done by BioWare? We all know it.
Knights of the Republic.
Yeah, he was the one.
Oh, the Old Republic, yeah.
Yeah, he was the one who he's the one who leaked the news about the Knights of the Old Republic, remake coming out. And it turns out it was true months beforehand. So it's like he's another guy that I tend to trust.
Yeah, Ryan's a great guy. He's a diehard Xbox fan. I know he got a lot of flack for the article he published at the Game Awards about Xbox not showing up. But if anybody, it wasn't just because he wanted to get clickbait. It wasn't just because he just wanted to have something out there. It was genuinely from a place of love and care for Xbox. He's not one of those guys that are, he kind of had a bad rap, I think, for a little while. But he's genuinely a great Xbox guy that just wants to talk about Xbox, that loves Xbox. I mean, he has the Unlocked podcast that talks about Xbox stuff like we do. He's just a real all around solid guy. I've heard he's just an absolute nicest guy too from people that have met him. Just down to earth and humble.
I like the criteria there, longevity. I think that's definitely a great factor when you're rating the credibility of someone, and he's definitely been around for ages, for almost as long as Xbox, right? So that's a really good pick there. Kevin, who haven't we mentioned that you trust for your Xbox news specifically, especially?
Specifically just for Xbox stuff is always going to be Jez. But I do think Jeff Grubb, I think he's a solid guy. I know people aren't going to agree with this, so feel free to boo me or put the downvote emoji.
Don't say
but
it.
I like Nick from Xbox era.
Right, that's okay.
No, I will never ever say Jason Schreier for any of my stuff. That guy is a
god.
Yeah, we're gonna need 10 minutes at the end of the show for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want a TED talk on that guy being an a-hole, I will give a TED talk on that.
You know what sucks about Jason Schreier? It's like Jason Schreier is actually a good journalist. He's a horrible person.
Yeah, he is. He's just insanely narcissistic. He has like one of the most fragile egos that you even try and like, hey, well, no, this isn't true, but here's this, he'll block you. And it's just like, dude, come on. You can't have, glass skin. Like, you gotta be able to take hits as much as you're giving them, I mean, we're kind of going off topic
true.
here.
Yeah. Sorry,
I knew that was dangerous.
I'm regulating myself because, as most people know that have been with the show for as long as, since we've started it, just knows how I can go on a huge rant about this guy. But to go back onto it, Jez is an amazing guy. He gets a lot of flack, but it's because he doesn't take himself seriously. He's super humble. He's super down to earth. He's just an all-around great guy that people don't, I think they look at him as media. They look at him as a journalist, and they expect, I wouldn't say they expect professionalism, but they take everything as objectivity, and they take everything so serious because he works for a media outlet. And I think that's where a lot of people don't really get that some of the stuff he's just joking and having fun. He's just a regular person. Just because he works for Windows Central and the journalist, it doesn't mean that what he's posting should be taken as serious or 100% fact or true, unless that's what he's pushing as an article or something. But for the most part, he just likes to have fun, and that's it.
And it is good fun. He posts pictures of cans of beans all the time. I mean, If you can't get down with that, I don't want to be your friend. It's great.
Well, he said there was a really good thing. Was it last night, Kev, where you sent us a link where he posted on Twitter saying like, "I'm really drunk. Ask me anything."
Oh yeah, he did a Twitter drunk AMA last night.
May we add into the extreme rumor mill? He gave a Starfield release date in there, didn't he?
He did. That's exactly what I was just going to say.
He did.
Said Starfield release date, and he said June 6th.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
man.
He just put June 6th.
Trust Drunken Jazz. I trust Drunken Jazz. I mean, that's up to you personally, but
isn't it the same date as Street Fighter 6?
Wow.
It might be. He did also. Oh, good.
No, I was just gonna say I'm gonna be in space that day, but Street Fighter 6 is also a big draw.
Yeah, he did also. He did also post. Somebody asked him a question, and they said, "We're using one emoji. Name a game that, or put it as a game that hasn't been announced yet, a first-party game." And he posted a helicopter. So I don't know what that means. Everyone's trying to figure it out, but I guess there's something involving a helicopter that's first party that hasn't been announced yet.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2.
No, Gears of War 6. If I think of helicopter and first party games, I think of Gears of War. It's all about.
Okay.
I don't know.
It could be. I mean, that's the thing though. But yeah, Jez is an awesome one. He's a real guy. He's seriously down to earth.
I know what I'm talking about. Sort of individual journalists here, but that sounds a bit crazy, but our sub's pretty good, for like your filter, because I mean the way that Reddit's based is upvotes, right? So the best stuff rises to the top, and I definitely take a lot from my sub every day.
We do, and like I said, I know that we know very well that there's a lot of people that troll through Reddit, and it's not just our sub. Xbox One still has a great source of news too, and a little more focused on last generation and more open stuff, but. Anywhere on Reddit is always a good place to find news. I've always felt that way, but it's not a testament to Reddit. It's a testament to the communities, people that make them up, and the people that come in here and they're like, "Hey, I saw an interesting story. Let's talk about this." And the submitters are the lifeblood of a community. They always are, the news submitters, and I've always valued them as a user and as a mod. They're the people that give us stuff to read, right? They're the people out there combing Twitter and looking for these scraps, and so then that's up, like you said, what makes Reddit so great is it's up to Reddit to judge if that's valid news, if it's worthwhile, and it's why I've been with Reddit for 12 years now. It's kind of mind-blowing to me, and I don't use other social media that much anymore. I'm at that point. Facebook became too political, and Twitter, I'm still on Twitter because you get a lot of industry takes and stuff, but you guys know how Twitter is. It's if you go down in the comment section on any video game thread, it's one of the most toxic social platforms there are out there, and it gets to be a little too much sometimes. So Reddit keeps it kind of based for me, and I really enjoy the people here and their takes, and it's a good news source. You're right. If I could throw in a couple more kind of people that I go to for news that are quick with news, Pure Xbox is one. These guys I don't want to call journalists. We kind of got into this debate a little bit earlier. They're just really good about finding news and resubmitting it. They're not going to do interviews. They're not doing the heavy lifting, but they are very, very good about catching breaking news at that second and getting it posted. They're a great follow on Twitter, and they're decent, and I used to not really like them because I thought they were a little bit clickbaity, but they're very fast with news, so I appreciate that. And then Xbox Era is kind of the opposite end of that. They're kind of a upstart fan based kind of website, and I tell you what, they had really tough go at the start, but they've really picked up traction this year. If you listen to their podcast, they've had Seamus Blackley on. They had Phil Spencer at one point. Like, they've really gained credibility this generation and recently. And I think the reason that they're doing so well is they stay away from that clickbait stuff. The articles over there are pretty thought out. They're really slow to post things, but I do also have to make a note that they are one of the people that ran with the digital only Redfall story. So it can happen to the best of them. So yeah. Anybody else? Is there anything else that we should throw in
Jesse.
there? Twitter follows? Jesse Norris.
Yes. Jesse from Xbox Era. I can't believe I forgot about him. He's a super cool dude. He's actually very active on our subs. He does really great reviews for Xbox Era. He does his own Twitch streams too. He's a pretty funny guy. Mostly early in the mornings. Morning for me since I'm on the West Coast, but Yeah, just all around great dude. He's a cool dude. Actually, most of the guys from Xbox era, they all follow me on Twitter. They're super cool guys. Always have great conversations with them anytime I talk with them. Just yeah, all around just great dudes.
Have you met some of these guys that you went to E3, right? You've been to a few.
Yes. So I didn't know Jesse then from last E3, but yeah, Aaron Greenberg. I've met up with him, with Stein. Actually, he's was in Long Beach just recently. I was actually going to hit him up, but I forgot. Yeah, there's some music festival he was here down here for. But yeah, some of them, yeah, a lot of the Xbox guys. The funny thing is most of the Xbox people are super down to earth guys and ladies. They just want to hang out and talk with fans. They're some of the most genuine, passionate people about gaming. Like Phil Spencer at FanFests. I'm pretty sure people are tired of me telling his story, but he literally sets up a booth at FanFest for like 3 hours and just talks to everybody. That's it. People line up just to talk to them about stuff, get in the sign stuff, and just talk with them and just talk gaming.
So cool.
Yeah, and he sits there for 3 hours. I mean, this dude is probably insanely busy, but nope. And even when he's walking around the area, he just stops and talks to people. He doesn't care. He's not one of those guys that are like, I'm this super executive. You can't touch me. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me in the eyes. No, he's just like, hey, I'm Phil. How you doing? And it's like, yeah, I know you're Phil.
I kind of like either version of Phil. I like the Phil that's down to earth and you want to have a beer with him, but I also like kind of like the mega Phil where he's just like throwing the hands up to people. He's like, no, he's like, I got stuff to do. Get out.
It's just a sign of a genuine person. If you were to reach where he is now, you'd like to think that you'd be like that, right?
You would hope.
We can't. It seems very genuine. We all kind of judge this stuff because we know that everybody in a position like that is very image conscientious. They're very aware of how they're appearing. And, I'm a person that, when I watch reality TV, I'm always just like, oh, I got 3 cameras back there. This is so fake. So when I look at anybody, I'm always kind of like looking at ulterior motives. But when you see Phil out there getting down with gamers and high-fiving and discussing games, like it sure as heck looks like it's genuine, man. And I can't say... We could all be wrong. It could be the greatest scam on earth, but he's very good at playing it if it is, because I believe him. I believe that when he's on a flight, he's playing Microsoft Solitaire for 3 hours, and people like watch this because he can watch his gamer score. But it just seems like he gets down with his games. He loves the industry, he loves the business, and he loves gaming. And
yeah, like I've met him numerous. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it could be a big act, but I don't believe it is.
It's not. I've met him numerous times, and he's always been just a straight stand-up, classy guy. Just super humble, willing to talk to everybody, and just he's just all around great dude.
Which is nice, and it is the Xbox community is a family, and that's something that I've really kind of learned in my time, especially moderating, and it's just as a member of these subreddits. I've seen users help each other out, and people that are down on their luck or having a hard time, and somebody's like, hey, I have these codes for you, or here's a game. We see it from Xbox and corporate. They come in here and they help out with the communities. I know over on, like I said, on our Xbox Gamepass, they gave them like 100 months of Gamepass to give out, and all kinds of great prizes and awards. They'd like to give back a little bit when they can, just to kind of help out and prop up some people. And I love that. I love that they participate and they're active. And
yeah. Oh, did your mic cut out? I think it just ended. Maybe it did. All right. But I do want to say we do have a comment from Nate please. Nate. Oh, yeah, it's Nate. He's been with us since like the start of the show. Great dude. He's actually been up here and talked with us a few times. Really, really great guy. For Jay, I'm assuming this is Jay's comment. Reddit is best for snarky comments, not news. So, that sums up Reddit.
He's running back.
No, I had to go grab a Kleenex, man, and it's not because I thought that, LSU tacking out here. Totally different, unrelated, but
I was not watching. I'm sorry, I wasn't watching our camera feed. For those that know, we do publish this show on YouTube, and we have camera feeds of us, so we can spitball off each other, raise our hands when we want to talk and stuff like that. So, so I thought you would like that comment. Jay. But
some of the best comments are the snarky comments, and I know that I've seen Nate down there mixing it up with users. We all get into it a little bit. As long as we keep it above the belt and we can have these debates and kind of have fun with it, then it's all good. So
attack the message, not the messenger.
I think being working modding the subs, you see the very best and the very worst.
Yeah,
of Reddit, all in like the same 5-minute period.
Well, yeah, I think we beat the living hell out of journalists today for that topic.
We did. And, we're at 46 minutes if you're running about a runtime, so we can start trolling through these other subjects now. And it is such a meaty one. And I know Mikey wanted to be here with us tonight to weigh in on it, so maybe we'll get some more feedback from him next week too, and he can also weigh in on Jason Schreier. Just kidding.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
let's get into more.
I was gonna say, if you guys want a too long, didn't listen, Jason Schreier bad, Jez Corden good. That's it. That's all you got to remember. Tom Warren or Jason Schreier bad, Tom Warren good. Pretty much you can put anybody after Jason Schreier and you'll get tons. You'll just get way better results. Yeah. Except maybe Kotaku. Yeah.
But yes, because our next story has to deal with kind of garbage journalism. And let's do it. Microsoft confirms Game Pass cannibalizes sales. And I just want to stop there because that's the headline. That is the headline that started this immense controversy. And the headline came 5 days after the initial report, where a lot of us read this and we're just like, yeah, we understand. But once who printed this headline? Let me tell us. Oh, it was GameIndustry.biz, a publication that I respect I respect them a ton. They're actual journalists as we're talking about this.
Yeah,
but
they are.
This particular piece, I think, was worded very poorly. And I think it deserved a little bit of a deeper dive than what was given to it, because unfortunately, here we go again. People ran with the headline, and they really did. And they're just like, I told you. Games that go on Game Pass, it hurts them. It ruins their sales. That's the narrative that we're getting out of this. But I don't even want to explain this one because I think Kevin or Anthony can. You guys, can you tell me why maybe this is a deeper issue and why that's a terrible headline?
You go, Kev.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was, I guess they were reading into the preliminary findings. Still, we're still finding stuff from the CMA stuff that they published, and I guess this little snippet in there, like a paragraph, I guess they said that Xbox, I guess after a year, they see declining sales or something similar to that. I can't remember. It's been a little bit of a while, but they mentioned something like that. And Game Industry Biz, they ran with it. Xbox cannibalizes sales, or Game Pass cannibalizes sales. And it's like, that's not what they said, though. I mean, naturally, even if the title wasn't on Game Pass, you would still see game sales decline significantly after a year, whether it's on the service or not on the service. This is why I think, except Nintendo, they're the only ones that don't do this, but PlayStation, PC, Xbox, any other platform title, they offer discounts as the title goes longer to generalize and produce more and more sales, or to keep the title at least profitable. But yeah, so that's what it basically was, is after a year, they see a percentage. The number was redacted. So this could also be 1%. This could be 50%. We don't know, but I doubt it's 50%. But it blew up into this thing where people were saying that Xbox Game Pass is cannibalizing sales, and after a year of being on the service, and it's like, well, but title doesn't.
So shocking. A game that's released on a subscription service doesn't sell as much on that platform. I don't think anybody's mind was blown by that. There's a couple points here, and one is that this helps game developers and publishers monetize their games in other ways. When you get more people in the door, you can sell DLC, you can sell cosmetics, you can sell other things. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of times developers or publishers will put their game on Game Pass before a sequel comes out. I think I was talking last week about Darkest Dungeon, and I have been playing it because I know Darkest Dungeon 2 has just come out. And it seems like a weird thing to bring Darkest Dungeon back to Game Pass after it's already had a tour on there with Darkest Dungeon 2 just coming out. It seems like it might be leading that we're going to see a Darkest Dungeon 2 announcement. And if we do, I'm going to be like, yeah, I called it. But if we don't, then, I didn't call it. But basically, it's a great way to raise publicity for your game, to raise the player base, to get some noise out there. It's just beyond the initial game sales. Additionally, we know Microsoft compensates these companies. We know it varies by deal. It could be based on a number of downloads. It could be a one-time check. We've heard varying accounts based on the developer and publisher and the situation. And I think the most interesting thing to come out of the story is Mike Rose from No More Robots. The very next day, not the next day after the initial filing, but the next day after this report came out, kind of had a fire take. And kind of called people out, and what he said is that first is every time Game Pass is in the news, my Descenders search fills with mentions as people on both sides try to explain why Descenders is proof of their own claim about Game Pass. And every single time, oh boy, do I learn that gamers do not understand how video games work at all. And he's saying this is people on both sides of the debate. The ones that are saying it's good for Game Pass, the ones that are saying it's bad. He followed up by saying, all I can say is we're aiming to get every single title we publish from now on the Game Pass. In doing so, we'll secure success for each title and relieve immense pressure for the developers. It's making an easier environment for them because they don't have to work for free, basically. They have their money up front. They can take their time, craft the game, and put it out when they know it's in a good state. So he finished by saying, but please, gamers, continue to explain why it's bad for us, which is poking the bear a little bit, which I guess Mike was having kind of a feisty morning and wanted to push back against people giving him kind of crap about a Game Pass. And not just him, like anybody who signs up for the service, because, again, the only narrative that we're hearing is this one thing is it hurts game sales. Nobody cares about anything else. They're just like, well, that's it. It means it's bad for games because the overall sales are down. And it's just not the whole story, right?
Correct.
No, it really isn't. Oh, sorry, Moko. What were you going to say?
It's that fan manager posed these, but I don't think a game like Tunic would have been noticed without Game Pass. The service saves games and advertises them perfectly.
Great example. Vampire Survivor, right? Vampire Survivor exploded because of Game Pass.
Yeah, but the other side of that is we just had an AMA this week. I can't remember which one it was because we've had a couple, but everybody on our AMAs immediately asked the developers, is this going to be on Game Pass?
Pinball FX.
it was Pinball. It might have been Pinball FX, but they replied and said, and they basically said, not for want of trying, as though they're trying to get on Game Pass.
Yeah.
They're not being accepted at the moment.
We saw the same notion from Fashion Police. We saw the same notion from that the action figure shooter. What the heck is that called? Like,
Hypercharge, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. So people ask them and they're like, it's not from a lack of want. So all these developers want to be on Game Pass, and yes, this does seem to be your indie developers. It's not your AAA. And I saw another comment in those threads that was like, well, Rockstar said that Game Pass just wouldn't work for them. And I wanted to jump out of a window. I'm like, of course, Game Pass isn't going to work for Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto. But if you really want to get down to the nuts and bolts of it, there's a price where Game Pass does work for Grand Theft Auto. It's just Microsoft is not going to pay it. So it's not that it doesn't work for Rockstar. It's that it doesn't work for Microsoft. It's not worth the $20 billion, that they would have to back up to get some kind of Grand Theft Auto deal or something like that. And that's not what we expected from Game Pass, is it? Because I feel like some people did.
No.
And it's such a ridiculous, like, I don't know, the people posting about the whole Rockstar, like, well, this is valid because, like, this just validates what Rockstar says. I think you totally miss, like, the point just right over your head that Mike was trying to make about Descenders and Game Pass and why it's good and stuff like that. This really doesn't have nothing to do with the AAA titles. Like, yeah, we still get AAA titles on the service. It still actually does a lot in keeping the game active, keeping the community healthy, or the player base healthy, things like that. But that wasn't the point he was trying to make. He was basically, he's basically trying to just say that, this is it does so much for indie developers to really drive home and not have to worry. Even AAA developers too, like wasn't AAA until the next title, but Plague's Tale. That started off, and now look at them. Now they're getting that AAA status, I think, where they promoted it. They were like on bus stops, I think, for something like that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a weird take. Not from Mike, but the AAA one.
No, and I think again, here's a little thing about expectations, and a big knock against Game Pass has been like, where are the games? This one also makes me want to jump out of a building, but and what people are asking for is, where are these AAA big bangers that where's our God of War clone? If you really want to strip it down, where's our God of War? Where's our Horizon Forbidden?
That's where you're going to get the first party, right? Your first party is going to be AAA, your Fable and your Gears 6 and your
exactly. And day and date, first of all, and these are all great. And the thing is, we haven't seen it yet, but we understand that it's coming in. The believers, the faithful, are expecting some good things once the cycle starts. And Starfield is probably going to be our big lead off to what a lot of people expect. So it's I think Kevin's right. It is kind of a weird take from certain people about the value of Game Pass and what they expect from it. I think you're also right, Anthony, that the way they're going is for the AAA, they're going to develop them. They're not going to pay for them. They're not backing up $20 billion to Rockstar. They're going to, they're going to spend it developing these games. So we're going to get the Starfield. We're going to get Avowed. We're going to get Fable and all this, the fears, of course, the staple, the holy Microsoft Trinity of Gears, Forza, and Halo kind of. Halo's kind of, we know stuff is coming for Halo. It's just kind of in a weird spot right now. So lots of content coming, I guess is what I'm saying. Don't expect big AAA games day one on Game Pass that are third party. Just don't. It's not. And if that breaks the service for you, I think you're in the minority. I think you're in the vast minority because these first party games and the indies and everything else that comes out. We didn't even mention Guardians of the Galaxy. What a great fit. Game Pass might have resurrected that game.
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, no, I wouldn't say they resurrected. I mean, that game was already a masterpiece as is.
It was, but it kind of floundered, didn't it, a little bit? Because and it wasn't Guardians' fault. It was Avengers' fault.
Yeah, I think at start. Yeah, I did. I wasn't until that I started seeing it win awards at the Game Awards. I was like, oh, maybe this actually does deserve a second look. But you could also say Like a Dragon. Look what that did. That's a AAA title. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, but yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
so I would say. I think the kind of the point here is there's lots of games that are a fit for Game Pass that are well worth our time, and Game Pass is a great service for discovering these games that get overlooked, and also it's going to bring the bangers. So everybody that's impatient, and, as soon as Starfield drops, it's going to be a whole new world, a whole new realm. And then we haven't even really touched on the possibility of ABK in some fashion, however it closes, if it closes, the potential of Blizzard titles, the potential of COD, which I know which is what everybody's excited for. So Game Pass is fine. It really seems to be doing just fine.
Speaking of, speaking of which,
I think we were both going to go the same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you again, Kev, was something that you sent to us yesterday about them. Everybody's flying to a meeting regarding the ABK.
I love this story because gamers are the best, man.
Can you relay this, Kev? Because I didn't catch up on the total story, but everybody's flying to some kind of closed door meeting regarding ABK.
Yeah, so I guess PlayStation. Was supposedly somebody tracked their jet, and it landed in Seattle. And I guess people are saying that they're meeting up with Xbox, and I think PlayStation did somewhere. I've been trying to find it, and I didn't really see it yet. But I guess PlayStation confirmed that they were going to meet up with Xbox or something like that. There was a whole bunch.
They were still in talks, and they didn't want to disclose what those talks were about.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find a little bit more in depth about it. I couldn't find anything more other than just that kind of vague statement. But yeah, and then all of a sudden now somebody tracked their jet to Seattle. Who knows? That could have been for Bungie.
Destiny, Bungie.
Could have been to meet both Bungie, but supposedly a lot of people are thinking that
sounds more plausible, right? It sounds more plausible that they've gone to
it does sound more plausible
studio.
than Jim Ryan flying to have some kind of like hot tub meeting with Phil Spencer or whatever's happening, man. I don't like gamers just like
why does it have to be a hot tub?
because that's how like there's a lot of tension between these two, and that's how I think
that's fair.
Around, but
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, actually, this is relaxed and set the mood. Little wine glasses. And...
Yeah, no, Master Chief is bringing out the wine glasses. He's got a little platter, and he's just like, "Hello, gentlemen."
Kratos brings Jim Ryan's, and then his wine glass, and then Master Chief brings Phil's.
Yeah,
Jesus, this topic will go downhill fast. I don't know. So who knows? I think it was once again Tom Warren who kind of pointed that out, and he's like, this could be for Bungie, guys. It doesn't necessarily mean they're meeting up with Microsoft. I don't know. Do I think so? I think maybe. I think Sony kind of sees the writing on the wall for this, because if the CMA and the EU do approve, Sony's going to go. I mean, Xbox is going to go with the merger. They're going to go ahead and go with it and say, screw the FTC, because even the FTC knows they don't have a leg to stand on.
I was actually referring to a different article you sent us, which says that.
I'm so sorry.
I've gone back to the 18th now. You said top executives from Microsoft, Blizzard, Sony, as well as Nvidia, EA, and Valve are expected to appear at a closed-door hearing in Brussels on Tuesday.
Yep.
21st.
21st
that
is a
flight.
big day.
Yeah.
So
So that's interesting. I mean,
there's airplanes going everywhere. It's hard to keep track. So I think these stories kind of tie in together.
Are we expected to hear anything about this closed door meeting? I mean,
it's supposedly open door. People from the public can go to Brussels and listen in.
Okay.
But that's the last thing I read, is that it's going to be open door for the public to go and see what they say.
I don't have the story up in front of me. I think it's a little bit of a mix. I don't think we're going to get details on everything. And,
this is quite detailed here. This is quite detailed. It says Microsoft is calling up Brad Smith, its president, and the chief CEO, Phil Spencer. Bobby Kotick is going to also appear from Activision. Jim Ryan is going to underline Sony's position that they deal with harm competition. Further representatives from Google, Nvidia, EA, and Valve will be present. Who is this? MLEX?
MLEX, from Reset Era.
Yeah, understands that the statement of objections maintains the bulk of its concern in November. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if anything comes out on, by Wednesday about what's been said in this.
No, I think we're definitely going to hear some stuff. I think, are they going to get into the nitty gritty of numbers and evidence and stuff like that? I don't think so, but we're definitely going to get a lot more clear stance on what, I mean, we already know Google and Nvidia, I think, were opposed. But we'll see reasons, I think, more for why they're opposed. We'll actually get, from the horse's mouth. This isn't from, a statement that some PR person wrote up, things like that. This is going to be straight from them. And I think that's what we'll hear is exactly
says
what
Nintendo will not be there.
I'm sorry. That's actually my favorite part of this entire story. Is Nintendo's just like, yeah, whatever.
It says here that they've not been subpoenaed. So, as in, not yet.
All these people are going to testify. I don't think that part is open to us. I may be mistaken. I do think that we're going to get some details that kind of leak out of there. And I go back to the thing I've been saying about this the entire time, is that no matter what side you're on of the whole debate about what should happen with ABK and all that, as gamers, this is good for us because we're seeing secrets exposed. We're seeing industry practices exposed, things about paying to keep games off services. A lot of the stuff that's already come out. We're going to get more and more dirt, is what I keep saying. And we're going to learn about how these guys have been screwing us over. It happens on all sides.
We know that Valve are going to go in. Valve have already come out publicly.
Yeah, Gabe is pretty good at things.
Yeah, I was going to say Valve have already come out publicly and supported Microsoft, so they're going to be there in support, aren't they? EA probably will be.
And these are companies that have played pretty well with Microsoft, right? Microsoft's been putting all their games on Steam, EA with EA Play and the Gamepass thing. Like, this is no surprise about which side people are lining up on.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it's kind of
no.
Google's still mad that Stadia failed, so they're going to blame xCloud.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that it's on Tuesday. We heard not long ago that it was going to try and be kicked back to later in the year, and the fact that it's on Tuesday is interesting. It's just like you said, it's just playing out. I love just watching the drama of it go down.
I actually don't know. This is a pretty deep question. I doubt you guys are going to know either. Do we know what is going to be the result of Tuesday? Like, are we going to have Wednesday? Are we going to have a really clear picture of the situation here, or is it just going to be kind of still clouded? And when this is where we need Mikey, right?
What's the date? Going to say that exactly that we need Mikey. I don't know.
No, basically, I think we're going to have a clear understanding of where everyone actually lies. We'll see a clear understanding of everyone's points and counterpoints. Basically, I think what they're just going to do is pretty much reiterate things that, at least from Sony and Microsoft, pretty much reiterate everything that they've already said. Right. I don't think there's going to be like cross examination. Well, Jim Ryan, you said this, and how is this true to this? Objection. I don't think we're going to get that. Yeah, the Phoenix, right? Objection.
There's a Twitter reply that says, "What are the odds that Phil smacks Jim on site?"
Oh, that's great.
Like the Oscars?
Yeah.
Get your games.
Keep
your games.
Keep your games out of my
Oh my god.
That's great.
I think we're gonna have a lot clearer understanding on where everyone stands. I think especially with Google and Nvidia, I think they're the two that opposed. I mean, of course it makes sense. Google Stadia failed, Nvidia GeForce now I don't think is taking off like xCloud is, or was, I guess. So I don't know. We're not going to get everything, but I think we're definitely going to see who's in whose corner and pretty much the counterpoints straight from the horse's mouth. Because we really haven't seen it from Jim Ryan. It's always been like a PlayStation PR statement.
Yeah, which really makes the fallout from all this interesting. You were kind of saying about who's in whose corner. Like, I feel like it's almost like in political gaming parties. After this is all done, no matter what the result is, a lot of people have questions. How is Activision Blizzard going to play with Sony? How is Steam going to play with Microsoft? How is Steam going to play with Sony? Like, how are all these companies going to interact after all the bricks fall into place? And it's going to be really. This generation is so much fun. That's all I keep coming back to. It's more fun than any generation since the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Like, there's just, I can't wait to see it all shake out. And like I said, in 5 years, the entire landscape of gaming is going to be different than what we're sitting here looking at right now, for so many different reasons.
Yeah. I mean, we could hear more remedies. Maybe Microsoft might present more remedies from on Wednesday or on Tuesday. I think Wednesday though, we'll get some info. It won't be everything, but I think we're definitely gonna I think Xbox is gonna go all out for this, and we'll hear some interesting stuff come Wednesday.
Kevin, is that a Mixer shirt? Where have I been this whole podcast?
Yes, nice. This is a Mixer shirt. Was this from one of the fan fests? I think it was in one of the grab bags or the swag bags that they give you. I miss Mixer.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the podcast or the stream here, but we all miss Mixer, just like we miss Windows Phone. Okay,
Play Beyond 87, who's a regular guest, right? Used to be. I've not
absolutely.
He's put, what is the team's overall thoughts on Atomic Heart? Do you think this blurs the line of a double A title, or is it punching its way to a AAA project? I think he's referring to Gamepass, right? In this,
yeah. No, it's a double A. I would say it's more of a double A title. They really haven't had a lot. I mean, most of the stuff that's been coming from it, it's not like they're putting commercials out. It's not like they're having their billboards out, things like that.
That's great.
It's mostly word of mouth journalism and people that are
I think
pushing.
One thing here is AAA is not a well-defined concept. Everybody has their own definition of what AAA is, and a lot of people don't realize that this is kind of a debate. So the origin of AAA goes back to the 90s, and the first game that it was really used for. Do you guys know if you had a guess?
No.
97 is the year.
97.
97.
It's a pure marketing term. It was created by marketers, not by the press, not by gamers.
97.
What console was that?
PlayStation.
It's going to be Tomb Raider.
Okay.
Tomb Raider?
Because that was a big sell for PlayStation, right?
Yeah, well, that's a good guess.
Tomb Raider
I wouldn't say Final Fantasy. Maybe Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7.
Really?
Had a $60 million ad campaign. The first game that was rolled out on this scale ever. The FMV was new to console gaming back then. You know, all that stuff took.
Sure, it was incredible.
And when they brought it to E3 in the States, some clever marketers were like, "This is a AAA title," a term that they borrowed from savings and loans. AAA bonds, you've heard of that, which meant that your bond is really like it's trusted and secured, and it's going to be a good thing. So,
wow.
Ever since then, the definition has really evolved. You know, and it's gone back. What does AAA mean? Is it marketing? Is it units sold? Is it budget for the game?
Well, based on what you just said, it sounds like it's on marketing dollar, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was created by marketers, but it's changed. That's almost 3 decades ago now. So it's really changed over the years. And we've got new terms like AA, AAA. There's triple I. I can't even tell you what that means. Google it. You'll find some stuff. It's really wild. So
for me,
AAA's
AAA's always been huge budget with a huge marketing push. So these are the games that you see on commercials. These are the games that you'll see on bus stops, on billboards, on magazine articles. Basically that they're spending millions trying to get the game out there, you know, like they do with the movies. You know, it'd be weird, you know, you see like the Toronto Film Festival or the Sundance Festival, things like that, where you don't get to see those trailers, those things popping up in articles or on commercials or on billboards. You know, same thing with that. You know, you see these big blockbuster titles like Marvel movies and Star Wars, and those get put everywhere. And I figure if we're going to compare the two, since they're both an art form, that it would be the same for gaming. AAA is something that you see everywhere, like God of War, not Tomb Raider, God of War, Halo, things like that you'll see on billboards, on bus stops, things like that.
So can a AAA game suck?
Oh, 100%.
There you go. Okay, that's your definition. And like I said, I kind of agree with you. I think it has to do with marketing, budget, you know, the aim for the game, and not necessarily the result. But so can a double A game overachieve and become a AAA game? Because I think that's the question we're getting posed here.
Yeah, that's what.
Can Atomic Heart be amazing and end up being considered a AAA game?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think they're really pushing the marketing that heavy. A lot of everything I've seen on Atomic Heart, they've had a couple of trailers, but these aren't the things you're going to be seeing in magazines, on billboards, things like that. A lot of it's just word of mouth from gamer to gamer, and the Gamepass machine doing what it's supposed to, pushing titles up and getting them out there.
So this ties into another story we've not touched yet.
Do it.
So you're talking AAA. AAA is a huge budget game with a big push on marketing, and you're saying, can it suck or whatever? Saints Row reboot cost over $100 million to develop.
Ooh. That's a AAA title.
But it's led to a huge loss.
Was it AAA? I guess it was AAA.
I mean, $100 million, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's insane.
Kev's bracket of AAA.
Yeah.
But the story is it's led to a huge loss for the publisher. I don't know much about the story. I'm just going to delve into it.
But, first of all, were people clamoring for a Saints Row reboot? I think this game might have been in a rough spot before it even launched, so it would really have to overachieve to land, and it didn't. And it's understandable. I can't believe they spent $100 million.
$100 million.
There's a lot of projects I'd spend $100 million on that weren't a Saints Row reboot, but I guess maybe they saw a window there. But when you're looking, it's crowded. You got Watch Dogs, you got Grand Theft Auto, you got a lot of the open world kind of crime simulators, and even when you get into Far Cry and stuff, it's a little different, but kind of a similar vein. So that was a tough ask of that game, and I a huge mistake apparently.
And especially with something like a genre especially Saints Row. Like Saints Row was the over the top Grand Theft Auto. It wasn't meant to be grounded. and they tried to ground it, and I think that's where its biggest failure was. Is they still kind of had some stuff with it. I don't know. It wasn't a bad game overall. It just wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't good. So it wasn't like horrible or it sucked. It just wasn't something fun. You know, it just was something that's just a typical, okay, they slapped on Saints Row and had open world, like every open world game did. It wasn't its own self. It wasn't a unique title.
It didn't stand out, did it? I mean, it was just, it was meh.
Yeah.
Aggressively mid as we saw earlier this week.
I'll pick it up for $20, you know, maybe Game Pass, but I won't pay $60-$70 for it.
Let's start ripping through this. We're starting to hit some length here. So Redfall is going to support keyboard and mouse, first of all, which is good news. I actually am surprised by the number of users that we see that are almost exclusively keyboard and mouse now with their series consoles, which I couldn't quite figure out at first, but it makes sense, right? PCs are expensive, so this is a PC experience on a budget with some solid graphics and all that, so that made sense. Roblox lost $1 billion in 2022, which is not $1 billion, 10 times the amount that Saints Row lost. But Roblox is a publicly traded company now. It's in a really weird spot. They're trying to turn into like an entertainment service where they were providing like concert experiences and stuff like that. And I don't know how I feel about the future of Roblox. Maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy, but I don't see a bright future for this. There's competitors too. There's Rec Room and all these other games. They're not.
Where have they lost $1 billion? Have they explained where that loss has come from?
You know, that's a really good question. I do have to assume this is game industry biz again. That a lot of that came from. Well, here's some numbers for you. In 22, the revenue was actually up 16%, but they're still losing money. So Roblox has been running at a loss for a while. They have this. When we got into the metaverse, like Roblox was a really early kind of contender in that space because they were doing something different than maybe Facebook and that. They had like the alternate reality and you could build a house and that kind of stuff, right? But it just seems like it's all marketing and kind of like it's in a weird spot, man. Somebody must see the future in it that I don't. That's all I can say.
But I mean, the revenue was 2.2 billion.
Sure.
But they have a net loss of 934 million. What are they spending $3 billion on?
Marketing? It is. Like they do these big concerts with people. I mean, I'm sure they pay a fortune to get somebody to throw like a Roblox concert. And who did we?
Wow.
Like I think Travis Smith did it. Like all these like, you know, people that are really popular and it's just like a gig for them. So that yes, revenue is up, but will it be able to keep growing like that? That remains to be seen. I don't have anybody in the household that's a big Roblox fanatic, so maybe I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But from the way I understand it, it just seems like it's redundant and easily copied. But again, they are they're worth a lot of money. A lot of people believe in what they're doing. So let's get to something interesting.
Wow.
No knock on Roblox. Diablo 4 open beta is going to start on March 24th. Early access is going to be for March 17th if you pre-order the game. I believe you have to have the digital deluxe or the higher edition. The price of the game is $70, $90, and $100. Give or take $10 on that middle one. It's pretty pricey to get in on this, and I'm still going to pre-order. And people hate pre-ordering, and I get it. I understand it. Like, what if you get burned? What if the game sucks? I know what Diablo is. I know what I've seen of this game. I know what I'm getting. I really do. I'm not worried. I am happy to pre-order and support this game. I'm not worried about the microtransactions. People are like, well, what about Diablo Immortal? They ruined Diablo. How can you trust Blizzard? I'm like, no, I'll be fine. Trust me. And I'm sure the game is going to do very well. If I'm wrong, I will come on the show and eat my words, but I'm not expecting anything too crazy from the Diablo team for Diablo 4.
Rod Ferguson did come out and said he cannot wait to see, or can't wait for us to see what we get for reaching level 20 in the beta.
Blizzard's really good at FOMO.
On release. So get to level 20 on the beta, and I guess on release you get some goodies.
I was disappointed. If you buy the upgraded editions, Blizzard also gives you gifts in all their games. So you get like a Warcraft mount, you get something in Hearthstone, but there were no Overwatch goodies from the upgraded editions. And I was
because it's all ecosystem.
Yeah. Overwatch kind of stands on its own, I guess. So
Yeah.
Sega says Sonic Frontiers did really great, exceeded expectations. This isn't a secret at this point. A lot of people have been raving about Frontiers as one of the best Sonic games in ages, and it's nice to see a good story. We're talking about all these games losing money. Well, it's nice to see something succeed and overachieve, and especially if it's a blue hedgehog, because they're easy to root for, for me anyway. This one's a little controversial, and I'm just going to read the headline, and I'll let you guys kind of weigh in on it. Xbox Series XS price increase in Japan started on February 17th. Doom and gloom?
No, I mean, if they're putting the prices up, it needs to, there must be they're not just doing it for no reason, are they?
Well, the basis is inflation. Yeah,
of course.
Sony and we've already had other companies do the same thing. When it comes down to it, the price for a Series X is still cheaper than it is in other regions, and the same for the Series S. Like, they're raising the prices, but they're still very affordable in that region. Xbox has not been doing super amazing in Japan, better than the Xbox One generation, but I think they sold like 5,000 units last week. Like, it's not great. So the Series X over there is $460 US. The Series S is $290.
Yeah, I mean, is this an actual price increase, or is this the same thing like that guy from India that was like, they're raising the prices, and then you look and it's like, no, dude, it's still the same price.
It is still the same price. I just checked like last week. It's still the same price.
Same price.
But this one seems to be true. But again, it's still below global prices. And, it seems like we'll see how it plays out in Japan. It actually sounds like there was another story this week that isn't in our news headlines that Xbox is focusing India. They see the potential for a lot of growth there. I will say that we noticed that we have a lot of users in the overnight US hours that weigh in from India. And there is actually an Xbox India specific sub. Like, it does seem like they have some traction over there. And India, if you're not familiar, and I'm sure most people are, it has like 20% of the world's population. Like, it is a ridiculously populated country and important if Microsoft chooses to chase it. So we'll see how Xbox does internationally, I should say. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about this week, or?
Oh, I think that pretty much covers it.
This has been a heck of a show, man.
Yeah.
Saying you said that we were light on news. We've done pretty well.
Yes, apparently we weren't very light on news. I could throw in some more stuff. Minecraft 1.2 is coming out. There's a new biome.
Trashing. Go ahead.
Oh, is it the 10 minutes of trashing Jason Schreier at the end of the show?
No, I was about to say, trashing journalists pretty much took up majority of our first segment.
It did, and that's an easy subject for everybody to weigh in on. So, let me throw this in there. City Skylines Remastered Edition is now available. You can now do 25 buildable tiles. If you're not familiar what that means, it means you can have a bigger city, basically. This is the closest thing to SimCity that I've played. It's been out for several years now. I'm not the only one to say this. The Remastered Edition, I fired it up. Frame rate is smoother. It looked okay in the Xbox One edition, but it was a little choppy and everything moved slowly. This is... I didn't have a huge city. Just to start up, it was 60 frames per second. Looked great. So if you're into City Skylines or simulations, that's a good game to look up. Still available on Gamepass. Cool. That is it. That's the end. We've killed the news.
All right. Guys. Well, let's just go around the horn. I do have to take off pretty soon. I got like another 2 minutes before I got to head out. But let's just go around the horn real quick. What are you going to be playing, Jay?
I'm going to go real quick. I'm staying on the same diet. I'm on the Final Fantasy VII. Stardew Valley is going behind me. Darkest Dungeon, because it's a great cloud game. Everybody needs a cloud game. Everybody needs a phone game or a travel game. So that's what's great about Xbox. And I'm done. That was my 15 seconds.
I'm limited to time this week, so I'm just going to be playing Hogwarts and playing Lego games. That's it. That's my week.
Just that.
Yeah.
Kevin.
But I want to get Hogwarts. But I want to try and finish the story in Hogwarts. It's great.
So I want your full reviews. And you guys are Harry Potter fans?
No, not at all.
I never really read the books, but the movies.
No.
Okay. Well, that's how I mean, book.
I don't even know the story. I only know the first 2 films. I've not read any books. I don't know any story after that. So
that's great. That's an interesting take because you're judging it based purely on gameplay.
Yeah, just on the game. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I know of Harry Potter. I know of the, I've seen the first 2 movies, but
they're on HBO Max, I think. If you want to watch them all,
we don't get that here.
Oh, Amazon Prime, I think, has them too.
Oh, okay.
No, that's weird. How do you watch The Last of Us, the show, if you wanted to?
I can't tell you.
Son? You don't know. Look it up and get back to us next week.
It's just a website I've stumbled across.
In Pirate Bay? Just kidding. I do not endorse that kind of activity. Let's get out of here so Kevin can get out of here.
Sorry, guys.
Have a great week. Don't be sorry, man. It's a long show. Yeah. Thanks for the live audience that joined us. Thanks for you that listen on podcasts. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. We're back this week.
Yeah. Dat Fan Man, thank you for coming up. Appreciate you. Had some great opinions and great talk.
Yeah, and thanks for the comments too below. You guys that joined us in the live audience, you're a very small part of your audience, but you're a very important part of our audience. So we look forward to hopefully having more of you up and joining us live, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Happy gaming. That's Kevin's line. Right. Kevin, do it.
Happy gaming, y'all.
Take care.
Cool. See you later.
Easy.